We must read the signs. We must read the signs. We must read the signs. We gotta read the signs.
När jag går över till tvåan så hör inte jag dig, bara så att du vet det, så du får säga ordentligt innan man ska göra något där.
So, most welcome all of you to this, for Sweden, unusually warm and humid Saturday morning. My name is Peter Weinerud. I'm a president of the Christian Social Democrats in Sweden. Krigets första offer är sanningen. The first war victim is truth. That was the Swedish title of a book presented in 1977 by the famous war correspondent Philip Knightley. At that time, in that book, he covered the wars from the Kremlin War in the mid-19th century up to the Vietnam War, and discussed the difficulties and also the importance of accurate reporting in war times. States have always an interest to control news, and in particular in conflicts and war. It's important not to let the opponent know all the facts. It's also important for their own people not to know all the facts. This was, I think, most accurately formulated already by Immanuel Kant in his famous essay, Perpetual Peace, where he said, if the consent of citizens is required in order to decide that there should be war declared, nothing is more natural that they will be very cautious in commencing such a war game, decreeing for themselves all the calamities of war. It's also important not for decision makers sometimes to have all the truth. It was very obvious if you look at the last war on Iraq and the role of the UN Security Council. So truth is essential for upholding democracy and for upholding international law. And independent media and war correspondents are, of course, very, very critical. However, after Philip Knightley's book in 1977, the role of media in wars have been much more complex. The media landscape has changed. Also, states have changed in their behavior, and also war have changed. If we go back to the Desert Storm, which was launched the 17th of January 1991, it was the first war when CNN was present, when we had a new media landscape, when we moved into reporting in real time. CNN was present in Baghdad with a camera on top of the hotel, and people all over the world could follow exactly what was going on. But not even CNN knew exactly what they were broadcasting. The importance of immediate, but more important than the content. And states have also learned how to control media in a stronger way, not allowing independent journalists to participate in war, and also to use embedded journalism as a way to control media. Our organization was one of the participants in the Ship to Gaza convoy a few months ago. And we also there realized that we couldn't even contact our own person, who is somewhere in this room, Ulf Karmesson, for the critical 48 hours when everyone, including media, was blocked from reporting, in order to control the first 24 to 48 critical hours. And also, in the asymmetric wars of today, war correspondents are facing much more difficult working environment. It's more dangerous than perhaps it used to be. It's always been dangerous. The Swedish Christian Social Democrat is a political organization, and with a strong history and concern of issues of international affairs, peace and war. And being a strong believer in international law as the only decent way to keep relations between states and also to uphold human rights. And also a strong believer in democracy as the only decent way to keep relations between people within a state. We see the importance of providing the best possible truths and also alternative information in war and conflicts. And Wikileaks can in this way be seen as a response to the growing difficulties for war correspondents and for independent media in times of war. It's a way to use new technology to give media and civil society access to information that they would normally not have access to. And Wikileaks is of course controversial because it changes the balance of power and also it puts new ethical dilemmas to surface. What to publish and what not to publish. And we are very happy that Julian Assange accepted our invitation to come to Stockholm today to give this seminar and to discuss with media, politicians and civil society in Sweden the links between all these critical issues. The procedure today is that we will have a presentation from Julian for about 30 minutes, and then we will have a session of questions and answers, and everything will be broadcasted in television, which means that we have to ask you to use the microphone when putting your questions. So you have to wait for Anna to assist you in getting the microphone before you put the question. If there is a need, we will also, after the seminar, make a break and have a more proper press conference, but that we can decide when we are at the end of the seminar session. With those words, Julian, again, most welcome to Stockholm, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Peter. So the floor is mine, but what about the screen? Why we wait for that? So I'm very happy to be here. Only last week, the Pentagon spent 25 minutes issuing a series of demands to this organization. One of those demands was that we destroy our archives of classified information related to the Pentagon. The second demand was that we destroy all future publications relating to the Pentagon and classified information from the US government. And the third demand was that we stop dealing with US military whistleblowers. If we did not follow those demands, then we would be coerced into following those demands. And the Pentagon, when asked through what mechanism or what power it could engage in that coercion, said that it was the Department of Defense and issues as to legalities were not its concern. Subsequently, there has, and in fact before that moment, there has been intelligence-to-intelligence contact between the Pentagon and Australia. And we can assume, and there are other reporters have stated, although it's not my first-hand knowledge, that there are intelligence and diplomatic efforts being made to interfere with our organisation in different countries. And so it was with some relief that I accepted this invitation to come here to Sweden, where we've had long support over many years, and where our principal publishing operations occur from. While we have also received strong support in the United Kingdom from organisations such as The Guardian and many other groups, there is no doubt that there is a history of collaborations between the various services of that country and the United States. There you go. So, I don't, how are these lights working? All right.
It's zooming.
Just 2 minutes break. We are about to
Doing?
This is not Macintosh compatible.
Right, well, okay, I can add a
Do you
little.
have a good signal out?
Looks like. Okay, so Philip Knightley, whose statement just quoted, said that truth is the first casualty of war. But it is journalism that is not only the first casualty of war, but it is the casualties occurring in journalism that cause wars and keep them going and maintain them. And that is something that we have seen not just in this most recent release of 92,000 classified documents pertaining to the war in Afghanistan, but something that we have seen for many years, where we have released the policies behind media manipulation, principally in the West, which is more sophisticated in these matters. And sometimes the details of that manipulation is occurring. So back in 2009, we got hold of NATO's master narrative for Afghanistan. Now, it may surprise some of you to think that there is a master narrative for Afghanistan held by NATO. Well, there is, and we obtained the document detailing that narrative. In fact, it's part of a collection of a number of similar materials in encrypted form. And we set about trying to break the code to it. And this was a relatively easy decryption process. The code word was in the dictionary. And NATO, in a desire to be ever on target with its story to itself, had set the password to be progress. And well, that's we have a picture that we used, which was also leaked, of a ISAF soldier in Afghanistan posing with a dead Afghani. We're not sure of the precise circumstances. It does look like a trophy shot, of which there are many of these sorts of things. So that's the part of the reality. And this document is in part what you expect and what you've heard about, because it is what you're hearing about. It is what the public spokespeople for that organisation are telling the press every day, and their instructions on how to handle the press you are seeing. But you may not realise that behind the scenes this is well mapped out and coordinated. And even within